welcome. Today we're looking at the verbs, which is pretty much self-explanatory, from Poly Effects in Australia. Now, Loki Davison is a clever man, and he loves convolution. And what does that mean? Well, it is the same thing as profiling amps. You can profile rooms. And back in the day, in 1999, Sony actually released a 2-rack space convolution reverb, the first one, which actually sampled rooms, and you could load them up with CD-ROMs and then play through those rooms. Now we know what an IR is, okay? An impulse response. It was an impulse response of rooms. Now we have IRs for amps, IRs for acoustic guitars, IRs for speakers, which is the most common usage, but IRs can also model rooms. And Sony did that in 1999. If you wanted to get all the rooms on the CD-ROMs, the unit cost over £11,000, which is probably why you haven't seen it around that much, because nobody had it. Now, that technology, with a lot longer IRs and better processing, is in a pedal. You're wondering, why is he wearing this? I'm wondering that too, because I'm sweating my balls off. Well, it is winter, and when it snows outside, it's nice to have an hoodie for the couch. And Mr. Gugu, the people that supply me with all the amazing clothing I usually have, I saw they had hoodies, and I said, can I have 2 of them? And they were like, of course you can. And now, I thought I'd wear it in a video. The only problem is I look like an idiot. And also, it's ridiculously hot. So if you are in the market for a stylish-looking hoodie, go to MrGugu.com. Me personally, since I am in front of lights and stuff, will take it off and wear something much less... I was going to say I'll just wear something more subtle, also from Mr. Gugu. Links below if you want to get that stuff. Moving on, verbs. Convolution, all that stuff. So here's the pedal. It's called Verbs. You don't see knobs on it because it's a touchscreen. Look, touchscreen. And if you actually hit the right spots, it is nicely responsive. Now, this is loaded with 56 different IRs of spaces. And what I love about it is the utter simplicity, because the space already has all the sound. You don't have to fiddle with pre-delay, which it does have, called onset, but you don't have to fiddle with diffusion and low and high and EQ and a million parameters like on the good old, PCMs from Lexicon, stuff like this, or on the 224s or 480s, whatever. None of that. It just loads the room, and you can say, when does the reverb come in? That's your pre-delay. Personally, never even played with that because it's not necessary. This is your important parameter. That's the mix. Should your instrument make the room too boomy, there's a low cut. That makes sense. And then there's a smoosh parameter, which apparently does something to the granular length in terms of longer and stuff like this, which is more apparent when you're hitting the A, which ramps up the reverb. So you have kind of like a crescendo. That's all you can do. And that's enough. For each of those types of spaces, you have 8 presets, which save the 4 different parameters with them. You can access all of them with MIDI in the back. There are tiny MIDI things. I think they're type B. The inputs are mono looking jacks, but they can be stereo. The pedal does process full stereo. It does not, however, create stereo. So if you're going in mono, it will give out mono. If you're going in stereo, which is what I'm doing, it will give out stereo. So you can see I have the line on the table from Universal Audio, and I'm going in mono. That creates stereo, goes out in stereo, and I have an adapter cable here, an insert cable. And the same thing for the output. I've got an insert cable going stereo into the Apollo X4. So it can fully process stereo, but does not create any, if you know what I mean. So if you go in mono, it stays mono. Power is 500 milliamps, 9 volt. Don't give it more. The USB is USB-C, and that can be used with a USB-C stick to load up 8 of your own IRs. And apparently making your own convolution reverb IRs is as simple as picking a room, going in there, popping a balloon in it, recording that, trimming the file, loading it in there, and then it sounds like that room. That sounds way too easy. There is a video online from Poly explaining that. It's true analog pass through something. The analog signal never gets digitized. The analog signal stays analog. It's just adding the reverb to it. True analog, analog pass through, analog drive through. That is what people that make reviews of pedals would say when they know things, which I don't. Let's go through these. There are pools of the Black Star, which are kind of weird big spaces. Caverns, which are, it's not really necessarily all caverns. It's just generally that category. Then there are churchy kind of things. Echo plates are a classic type of reverbs. There's actual plates, 480L, EMT 244, and the Bricasti M7, which is a brilliant reverb, but algorithmic. And then really, really well done analog devices, which is primarily spring reverbs, and there's also an oil can delay and the Roland Space Echo. Of course, it doesn't do delay, it only does the reverbs. It gets extremely interesting when we go to irregular verbs, because apparently you can use any waveform as your reverb. So there's bubbles, rain, a spinning coin, a train whistle, swirling cymbals, a slinky, and you would think, how in the world does that create reverb? Exactly. So this is not just realistic spaces. You have your pseudo shimmer, which is the rain. You have your bloom, which is probably the TV Strongur sound sculpture. I will show you the basics, but I made a 20-minute video, no talking, playing every single one of these, which I will link to at the end of the video. And then you can just check out all of them, because I cannot go through all of them. That adds 20 minutes to this video. So let's not do that. Here's my dry sound. That's a nice dry sound. This is a Panucci single cut. It's called the Palantir because it looks like something from Lord of the Rings. Your own IRs, by the way, 8 of them will be stored right here. It does come with 8 loaded into those slots, which if you overwrite them and then you don't like yours, you can always get back from the website. So you can always get it back into factory mode. So. And that's the Pool of the Black Star. It's gorgeous. Still going on. It's just so big. But it doesn't get in the way of the guitar. It doesn't trash it. I love that. I'm in love with this thing. Here's also Pool of the Black Star, but a different version of it. Let's get that low end out. And only reverberate the high end. Now that sounds like it has quite a bit of pre-delay, but that's just the room. We can add pre-delay. Here. Small difference there. We're going to try that on something else. These are weird kind of huts in Iceland that are tuned to certain notes. Mix behaves differently because some rooms are just bigger and more here than others. So you got to fiddle with it a bit, but it's literally 4 parameters and realistically 1. This is the a giant oil tank somewhere in England or something. I don't know, but it's ridiculous from the World War, some of the World Wars. Gorgeous. Let's go to the caverns. There's some that I really like, especially this one from Australia. It's an actual cave. It's a very subtle pre-delay. It doesn't really move it back far. Let's play with the smoosh. See it as a bit of a shuffle, like a granular shuffle that's happening. So that gives you kind of a freezy type, rampy, uppy effect, if you know what I mean. Let's get the smoosh down, as he says. In here, I absolutely love Tower of an Abandoned Nuclear Reactor. Gorgeous! How does it sound if we pump in some leads? Now this is the actual nuclear reactor. Let's skip the cathedrals. Listen to those, please, in the other video. Okay, I mean, I give you one cathedral, okay? The plates are amazing. And we're gonna go to the springs, which are pretty damn impressive. The springs are great. Or is that an oil can? Yeah. Again, for everything, please watch the other video. These are amazing because these are not spaces. These are weird things like bubbles. I don't even know how you capture the sound of bubbles or what that's supposed to mean. Who cares? But this is what bubbles sound like. On some of them, they get very resonant, and you have to be careful with how much volume you're pumping into it. I had a talk with Loki, and he might actually apply a limiter to those that are very resonant and kind of like bloom up. See, because that happens. Now the bubbles are amazing. Even more amazing is the rain. Absolutely love this. There's a spinning coin, there's a train whistle, which is this. And even more amazing, cymbal swells. And right here, we got a slinky. Get the low end out of that. Let's smush it. So let's bottom line this bitch. You've got your halls. You've got rooms, some of them are smaller, okay. It's not really for that. You've got your ridiculous spaces like the pools of the Black Star and the caves. There's some just amazing, huge reverbs in there. You've got your standard churchy kind of holly things. You've got your plates, which are amazing. You've got your springs, which are amazing. And some weird ones like oil can stuff and whatever. But then you've got the irregular spaces, the ones that are not actual spaces, like bubbles and stuff. And all those reverbs that would usually give you your bloom and shimmer and those specific algorithms, they're in there just differently achieved with almost no options. Pick which one you want, smoosh it, low cut it, mix it, move it back a bit. That's all you can do. But that means you create music and don't spend hours in a reverb menu. Who wants to do that? Me, no. It's MIDI. All the parameters can be controlled with MIDI. All the presets can be recalled with MIDI. You can, as we've already covered, ramp it up. And we didn't even go to the ones that are placeholders for your own. Now making your own, loading in, your cat meowing or your dog barking or a drum loop or whatever, and trying that as what happens if that is seen as a reverb. Whoa, you have to do that with a USB stick. It is 48K 24-bit. That's what it's got to be. But it sounds fairly simple to do that, and I should really try that. It's about $400. I'm thinking in Germany probably more like in the $450 range. So it's not cheap. Reverbs usually aren't. And you're gonna say, well, but it's only. I can only do 4 things. That's what you want. If it sounds this good, why would you want to do more? Honestly, I didn't expect much from the verbs. I don't know why. I was like, okay, reverb coming. And then I started playing with it and I got lost in the sounds. All you got to do is remember your favorite ones, which will probably be 5 to 10 maximum. You go to the caverns, 5, done. Go to the pool of the Black Star, 1, done. You go to the bubbles, the rain, done. I've only played with this for a few hours and I already know where they are. And that's really all you need to do. And you can, of course, do that with MIDI as well. I think this is ultra original. Some of those, not all of them, but some of those spaces you can also get in the Bebo, which also has a module for convolution reverbs, but not in that depth, not as long in terms of IRs. I think it's phenomenal. If you want to get lost in spaces, this is the box to get. Yes, I got paid for this video because it's work and we need to eat, but my opinions are my own and the sounds I couldn't fake. Brilliant. Well done, Loki. I'm in love with this thing. I put links below and of course always animals at the end and the link to the video where I'm playing every single one. So if you want to spend 20 minutes really checking out every single algorithm or IR, please do that. And now, animals. Don't go giving